Hi, this is Labe Richmond, and this is another episode of the 440 Motion channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about Padilla versus Kentucky, and that's the 2010 case where the Supreme Court said that before a non-citizen pleads guilty, they have a right to know the immigration consequences of their conviction. Now, a lot of people call me up and say, Mr. Richmond, I want my plea back because I was not told the immigration consequences. My lawyer didn't say anything. Now, it's a lot more complicated than that because there are two parts to a Padilla claim. One is that your lawyer didn't tell you the immigration consequences. And two is that it would have had an effect on the result. Now, the second part of that claim is a lot harder to prove because it may be that you took a plea to get out of jail, to get less time in jail, and it may be that it's going to be very hard for you to show that immigration consequences would have changed the result. Oftentimes, immigration consequences would be minor in your decision. For example, if you were facing 25 years, or 25 years to life, you might take 7 or 8 years to avoid that. And knowing the immigration consequences would not have changed your mind because the most important thing was avoiding jail time. Now, this isn't always the case, but often it is. Now, in a situation where there was an alternative plea, for example, you could have pled guilty to something at the same penal level with the same sentence, and it wouldn't have involved mandatory deportation. You might have been able to get a benefit that would have adhered to you in immigration court. Then it might be easier to show that immigration consequences would have affected your plea decision. And that's because you would have pled guilty to something else, and that there was a reasonable probability that the prosecution and the judge would have accepted that because they were getting what they wanted. They were getting a jail sentence, or they were getting probation, and they were getting a conviction, and you were getting something too. You were getting a plea of guilty that did not involve mandatory deportation. Now, a lot of people might ask me, well, on the first prong of the claim, what if the immigration consequences weren't clear? Like, what if the law is unclear as to whether I'd be deported or not? In such a case, the Supreme Court said that you have to be told the risk of deportation. So you have to at least be warned in some way that this could affect you. And if the consequences, however, are clear, you must be told the clear consequences. For example, if it's a lifetime bar to a green card, this conviction, or if it's going to involve mandatory deportation, then you need to be told that before you enter your plea of guilty. And as we talked about before, this could affect your case in two ways. One, you might go to trial because of that, or two, you might negotiate a different plea. Now, next time on the 440 channel, we're going to still be talking about Padilla versus Kentucky, but I want to talk about the effect that the date of your plea of guilty will have on whether or not Padilla versus Kentucky applies. And this will involve a discussion of the retroactivity of Padilla, and it will also involve a discussion of other factors that relate to whether Padilla applies. And of course, both of these will involve the date of your conviction and how that affects Padilla versus Kentucky. Thanks a lot for watching.